We weren't done reading comics because, dude, I think my favorite of all the comics I read over this last week was Carnage. There will be Carnage in this run. There's already Carnage in this run. The movie's got nothing on this narrative that is unfolding in this run.
Still haven't seen that movie. Venom 2.
Is this comic by?
It's written by Ron V with art by Francesco Mana?
This is Mana.
Probably Mana.
This right here is not what I was expecting. I also was surprised about the writer being on it.
Ron V is like
Ron V is
one
like
of the best. Like,
he's really good.
Sure, you got like some writers who are good at making like a cool mystery or some cool dope action sequences or whatever.
He's like a writer's
You got your
writer,
Donny
you
Cates
know?
and your Jimmy T's. You know, they're great comic writers, but Ron V is like on a different level. Like Many Deaths of Layla Starr is a phenomenal book. His Swamp Thing comic right now is really, really, really good. And then I heard he's going to be jumping on to Carnage.
And Carnage is like it's a wild, almost monster type of story. It's like
I always think of symbiotes as like 14-year-old boy comics. Like that's in my head.
90s.
I feel guilty for reading a symbiote story.
Weapons and aliens and
We're gonna stab stuff.
stabbing,
it's gonna be cool.
and eating you, and it's cool because we're 90s kids.
Bad boys.
You know, good video game characters for sure.
Sure, but like a guy like Ram V writing
V
this.
and Carnage though, what?
What the hell?
And he's also on Venom, so it's
He's
like
co-writing
what?
Venom with Al Ewing. It's a little strange.
I'll tell you, I was not expecting this to be what it was. I was shocked by Ram V being on this, but I was even more shocked to find out that we're getting character development of a symbiote. What? Because if you're up on your Carnage, by the way, 30-year celebration for the red symbiote. This character is traditionally known as being an extension of Cletus Cassidy.
Right.
Cletus is a psychopathic, maniac, murderer who goes on rampages, who's just, Carnage Mind Bomb. Carnage Mind Bomb. Read that and you'll know how crazy this character is. And the personality of Carnage is really Cletus. And the wrongdoings that are empowered by Carnage is really Cletus. Carnage Forever, we have some changes that take place. And Cletus is removed.
Carnage
from the
Forever
situation.
being like a little one-shot that was right. It'd be like a 0 issue for this Carnage run.
Yeah.
If you want to put it that way.
The symbiote has separated from the host.
Right.
Cletus still exists. His codex is in the symbiote, which is bonded to like a Null Dragon and then teamed up with Iron Man Stark type of
Some
weaponry.
weird stuff happened at the end of King in Black.
But we'll table Cletus for now because this isn't about Cletus. This is about Carnage. Yes, the alien itself. The alien itself is discovering what it means to be alone and how to grow and what it is and what it could become. This story is not about Cletus. It's about the symbiote and the symbiote personified. It has feelings, apparently. It thinks for itself, just like Venom does. But I don't think we've ever really seen a symbiote tale like this.
Just like, they're normally just like a puddle on the ground waiting for, Eddie Brock or Cletus to come by for them to latch onto.
Carnage is his own character in this. We're learning about him.
This actually kind of feels like a really good like sequel series to Absolute Carnage during the Donny Cates Venom run. If you want to know like what the next big Carnage story to read after that is, here you go.
There we go. We're here.
And we're only 2 issues in. Pretty early on in this run.
I cannot recommend this title enough. I had so much fun reading this. We start off with Hydro Man being dissected symbiotically. I'm making up words here, but
it's a real word.
It's a real word, but
I don't know
not in the way that I'm describing.
By a symbiote, yeah.
By a symbiote with symbiotic powers.
This is gross though. Like on that middle panel, it looks like is he like pulling his face apart? Like this book is also very, very hardcore. Like for a Marvel comic, especially like parent company Disney. Like this is kind of surprising the darkness that they went for in this story, but that's kind of what you need for Carnage.
Muscles and limbs moved by memory, brain on auto, lungs inhaling fumes, heart pumping.
It's caustic.
Caustic
it looks
into
like an L.
veins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little blurry on my screen here. So we have a story that is beautifully written because it's not just about Carnage. And if anything, it's about two other characters that have an equal level of fascination with one another that makes the viewer so intrigued that if Carnage was removed from this, I would still be okay with it.
Yep.
What?
I agree.
God damn,
it's called Carnage, and he's definitely a big presence in this comic, but the focus of this story is on a detective, a police officer, hunting down a serial killer.
This serial killer is leaving bodies in his wake, and he's displaying them like it's a damn art project. We have a person who's such a fanboy of Carnage in Cletus Cassidy that he is trying to befriend by doing a string of killings, displaying these bodies in a way that is atrocious. We have, just describe it, a body being hung up upside down by chains with a empty, what would you call that? Like a tray underneath him for a reason. Because what you're going to see is what's inside the body. It's been stuffed with something that's moving. The blood starts to splatter on the ground and butterflies start to come out of the body. Like
a cocoon metaphor? Is that what's happening? Yeah.
You know, something new.
It's definitely like a very twisted art exhibit, but with a dead body.
And what's on the ground? Of course, you have the symbol, the Carnage swirl.
That we saw in Absolute Carnage. To bring it back to the Kate stuff.
That's right. So we have a killer that is being named the Artist. And this artist, clearly because he's doing these like terrible science projects, right?
Butterfly Corpse.
Yeah, no good. He is doing a calling.
My metal band name, by the way.
Butterfly Corpse?
Yeah, when I make a band and we're going to be metal, that's going to be the name, Butterfly Corpse.
How about Caterpillar Corpse?
No, it's not as cool.
Not as cool. You're right. Butterfly Corpse is better.
That's right.
So the artist is calling to Carnage. Ooh. And what's really intriguing is that Carnage is on a quest itself. It's trying to do something.
Yeah, you can't really call it a him anymore because it's just an alien.
Yeah,
there's no host.
Right?
Carnage itself. Yeah, it pops. He's like jumping through his window here in the middle of the night like, hey, I've seen all these weird murders you've been doing trying to get my attention. Like, hey, good job, I guess, cool. But like, I'm good. I'm trying to do my own thing right now. I guess if you want to hang out with me, we can roll together. But I'm not going to bond with you.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. And
right.
I think that's probably one of the first times in this book where I'm like, oh man, this is a new direction here. Carnage knows what it's like to bond with a psychopath, and there was a time for that in its lifespan. But now he doesn't need Cletus. He's on his own. He essentially has a Cletus 2.0 here. Someone who is methodical, someone who's dangerous, someone who is probably less emotional about, you know, its reasons for being vindictive in committing these atrocious crimes. This guy is, you know, the artist that is doing it with purpose.
Right. Cletus seemed a little more unhinged and, yeah, like insane almost.
Unpredictable because he's mentally unstable. All of these guys are mentally unstable. However, this person is doing it because he is trying to befriend and become a host of Carnage. So he's definitely with it a bit more than Cletus.
But still crazy.
But still very crazy. Butterfly Corpse. We just talked about it. So we have three different narratives taking place. We have a detective who's after the artist who is also doing terrible, terrible things and is a villain in his own right. But then on top of that, we have Carnage, who the artist is obsessed with.
Yes.
Trying to befriend Carnage. But then Carnage, what is Carnage's focus right now? Evolving.
He's really kind of doing his own thing. And he learns that he can kind of take apart superpowered people and absorb their powers. It reminded me a lot of Heroes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Sylar.
It's like in your DNA.
Right. He can kill you and take your abilities, which is what happens to Hydro Man here. He ends up absorbing water powers from him.
He's like extracting what makes Hydro Man, which is at a molecule level of like, you know, hydrogen at a molecule level.
A very gross, scary body horror kind of scene.
And Carnage is becoming something new. And I'm not even going to show you what he becomes, but you have to see it. We were seeing, for the first time, character development of a symbiote that I didn't even know we needed it for.
Yeah, and it's honestly, like, the Carnage element of this is one thing, but I really appreciate all of the depth we're getting into with the detective, especially. Like, there's a lot of scenes of him questioning, like, why am I so fascinated by this artist serial killer? Why is my job, my whole reason for being, to chase this guy, to focus on him, to catch him? And he thinks about, like, he's living alone. You know, his apartment is just full of empty, like, food boxes and old beer cans, and, like,
kind of like that classic, you're just too obsessed with the job, police role, detective role, that it ruins your life because your job has now become your life.
So this comic has some cool commentary about the nature of obsession and what that does to a person, whether or not you're a cop, a good guy, or a murdering serial killer psychopath,
or an alien from another planet
who's trying to kill people and gain more abilities himself. So all three of these guys have their own obsession, and they're all kind of, it's only 2 issues in, so I don't know where the hell they're going with this, or what's going to happen when they start meeting up more often, but 2 issues in, I'm very much on board.
So we're not going to get too much into issue number 2, but what I will say is that the obsession doesn't just stop with Carnage, you know, detective, artist, Carnage. Carnage has a low-key interest in the detective. He finds it fascinating that these are the decisions that he makes, that he is actively trying to hunt down the artist at all costs, that he's putting himself in danger. He finds it humbling. He finds it, the drive that he has as inspiring to a degree.
But he sees something else under the surface, I think, in this guy too. And I'm interested to see where they go and what happens with their relationship.
The connection between Carnage and the detective is getting more and more interesting, and you find out where that's going in issue 2. But I'll leave that to the comic fam, because you got to support the industry. You got to pick up these comics. They're too damn good to miss.
I got to mention something too. I've been doing on my channel every month. I go through and rank my 5 favorite comics every month, and Carnage is 2 issues in, and both of those issues have hit my honorable mentions list. So these are, like, within my top 10 favorite comics of the last 2 months. Like, this is a really, really, really interesting, cool, unique book, and I'm just waiting for it to actually crack into my top 5 favorites of the month, which it's coming. I think this book is only going to get better.
Let me know in the comment section below. Are you reading Carnage? What's your favorite part of this book? Do you agree with us? I want to hear what the community is reading. And if you are as hyped to see the type of direction that we're going with Carnage, celebrating the 30 years, which is fantastic.
This book has hit $20. Let off the gas, comic fan, unless you're really gunning for some Jack Kirby goodness.
$75 cover price on this, don't overbid, but if somebody wants it, we got it.